listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It's Friday, August 21st, 2020. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. And we've got a lot to talk about today. And this being Friday, we're going to do news for about half an hour, then open up the phones. Then at the top of the second hour, we'll be joined by the lovely Lady Claire and her unique perspective on the world. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials, keeping us out of trouble. So let's get right on into it. The Golden State Killer has been sentenced to life in prison without parole for the 13 murders plus rapes that he pled guilty to. Actress Lori Loughlin is going to be spending 2 months in jail over the college admissions scandal. So that's what's going on over in the world of justice. Now then, let's talk about the Democratic Convention, which is now officially over. And it's being described as the spectacle no one saw. The ratings were a disappointing flop. The drop in viewership for Tuesday's event, which compared to 24.7 million in 2016, drew 19.2 million viewers across 10 television networks and showed Vice President Joe Biden receiving the formal nomination to run for president as a Democrat, followed a similar drop of about 24% in the DNC's first night viewership compared to 4 years ago. Monday's event drew 19.7 million viewers, while the first night of 2016 had an audience of 26 million. So, not portending very well. Of course, next week it's going to be Donald Trump's turn for a virtual convention. We'll see how those numbers look. It may be that the virtual convention itself is a turnoff because everybody's already tired of coronavirus and having to jump through all these hoops, you know, and Zoom calls and isolation. Maybe they just got sick of it, or maybe they're sick of the Democrats. Next week's numbers, I think, will tell us a very, very great deal about what's going on in this campaign season. If the Republican National Convention numbers are high, that's going to be very, very telling, and it's going to be an indicator that it's the party and not the platform that is really the problem here. Now, Trump says he wants the event next week to be live, even though it's coming from multiple cameras. But the second most powerful Republican has snubbed him by sending a taped speech and staying home in Kentucky. So Trump has tweaked plans as he watched the Democrats gathering. Trump and VP Pence will make a stop in Charlotte. The hub of events will be in Washington, D.C. Trump will speak from the South Lawn, the First Lady from the Rose Garden. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will send a taped speech after reports he wasn't going to the gathering at all. So, now, last night, of course, Joe Biden gave his acceptance speech for the Democratic nomination for president. Donald Trump calls his speech just words as he abandons months of attacks on Biden's cognitive ability to question his record in government after a Democrat flames his record and says character is on the ballot. Moving the goalposts yet again. It's not about cognitive ability. It's about character. And, well, I don't know. Donald Trump strikes me as being a real character. So that's got to work for him. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy had his day before Congress today. Democrats skewered him, saying you have not delivered. And they say that his policy changes have delayed people's vital medications and cost Americans their livelihood. But he calls it his sacred duty to deliver the ballots, and basically said that all the changes that were made, such as removing post boxes, they were removing post boxes that numerically were not being used. And as far as removing sorting machines, again, machines that weren't really needed, and they had to make room for processing all the mail-in ballots. So it's definitely a hot kitchen over there. Donald Trump is still accusing the Democrats of trying to steal the election with mail-in voting and vows to send in law enforcement to polling stations to stop voter fraud. Meanwhile, up in New Jersey, a judge has ordered a whole new election after mail-in voting caused the last election to be riddled with what was called irreversibly tainted fraud. The city council special election on May 12th was supposedly won by Alex Mendez, but his opponent, William McCoy, suspected foul play and filed a lawsuit. Okay, Kamala Harris is a hypocrite. She saw an opportunity to seize a position of power and took it. Biden accuser Tara Reade claims Harris turned a blind eye to sex assault victims after saying she believed women who came forward against the former vice president. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as Kamala Harris became the vice president, she completely dropped this whole Me Too thing and is absolutely silent on the fact that former Vice President Biden has been accused of sexual assault. Ghislaine Maxwell's legal team is trying to keep pages of potentially embarrassing depositions secret, claiming it would stop her from having a fair trial. And apparently they're trying to block the release of documents from her case against Virginia Roberts in 2016. They say that intimate information about Maxwell would spread like wildfire. Maxwell denies charges of helping Jeffrey Epstein recruit and abuse 3 girls. So she's still going through the motions there. She's not due in court until next July. It's a very, very long time to get depressed. Really, really depressed. All right, Steve Bannon has been released on $5 million bail and says this entire fiasco is to stop the wall being built after appearing in court in handcuffs over a $25 million border wall fundraiser fraud following his arrest on a Chinese billionaire super yacht. Apparently, they used armed postal inspectors to carry out the arrest, which strikes me as kind of odd. But we had that caller who called in yesterday and said, you know, Bannon's got money. He doesn't need to be cheating his own charity, if you will, his GoFundMe for the wall. And maybe this is all being set up to tarnish Trump with. Okay, police used tear gas to disperse Portland protesters as they march on ICE building for a second night running, amid anger that a significant portion of the 500 arrested over 85 nights of unrest won't be prosecuted. Okay. A military veteran business owner in Northern California lit into his county's leaders at a Board of Supervisors meeting, warning that restrictions due to the coronavirus pandemic are threatening the lives of his family and many others. This is a warning for what's coming. It's not going to be peaceful much longer. Carlos Zapata told the Shasta County Board in Redding on August 11th. Okay. Doctors are warning against taking mega doses of vitamin D to prevent COVID-19. In a paper published in the British Medical Journal this month, 21 experts from the UK, Ireland, and the US conclude that while vitamin D is essential for good health, especially for bones and muscles, and may bolster the immune system, it can also be dangerous in high doses. I thought vitamin D was water soluble. It's the fat soluble vitamins like A and E that you can overdose on. Okay, down in New Zealand, a man, 33 years old, who hugged a quarantining friend has been thrown in jail for 6 weeks for breaking the coronavirus rules. And Jesse Courtney Welch, 33, from Morningside, Auckland, he's a painter, received a 6-week prison sentence after hugging a friend who was isolating after returning home from Australia. They're really strict down there. Okay, turning to the economic news here. The UK public sector debt goes above £2 trillion for the first time in history, quadruple what it was before the 2008 crash. Ministers borrowed £26.7 billion in July alone, according to the latest data published by the Office of National Statistics. The ONS said the borrowing for the last month was £28.3 billion more than the same time last year when the public finances were actually running at a surplus. The borrowing figure for July is also the 4th highest since records began in 1993, as the government continues to throw billions of pounds at the economy to help it recover. Now, a while back, California's Governor Newsom cut state workers' salaries by 10% to aid the battle against the coronavirus pandemic. And at that time said he was going to do the same thing for himself. Turns out he did not. He did not take the pay cut as promised. He's in hot water. And so the workers got the pay cut and he did not. American Airlines is starting to cut flights due to lack of demand, including Sioux City, Iowa, New Haven, Connecticut, and Springfield, Illinois. These flights will stop operating in October. It's a total of 15 smaller cities when a federal requirement to serve those communities ends. Okay, out in California, there's been a victory for Lyft and Uber. California appeals court rules they can continue to treat drivers as contractors rather than employees just hours after rideshare app threatened to suspend service in the state at midnight. Trump hits Goodyear again as their stocks lose value. I would take their tires off the limo. President Trump said he's open to stripping the Goodyear tires off of the presidential limo, dubbed the Beast, after controversy erupted this week when a slide from a company presentation showed that it discriminates against conservative activism while championing left activism. But Goodyear has caved into President Trump and has reversed the ban on Blue Lives Matter at the workplace. Well, it's a start. Okay, let's see. Michigan has settled with the city of Flint water crisis victims for more than $500 million. The state of Michigan has settled with victims for more than $500 million, and details of the settlement were expected today. Ryan Jarvie, a spokesman for the Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, would not confirm the settlement Wednesday night, said the parties involved aren't authorized to speak publicly yet. The Attorney General and governor's teams have been engaged in an ongoing collaborative mediation effort for 18 months. And we and the other parties are bound by a federal court order to maintain the confidentiality of detailed settlement and mediation communications until we reach a certain point. We've not yet reached the point where we can discuss a potential settlement. Anyway, let's talk about some science news, because that's a lot more fun than some of the stuff that we see going on around here. Japan's Hayabusa 2 asteroid sample return capsule is cleared for landing in Australia. Now, it was always planned that it was going to land in Australia, but Australia has now formally and officially said, yes, you can do that. So Japan's asteroid sampling mission is officially clear to return its precious cargo to Australia in December. The Hayabusa 2 spacecraft is trekking back to Earth with a sample capsule full of material snagged from a near-Earth asteroid called Ryugu. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, which runs the mission, has long planned to deposit that capsule in the vast desert of Australia, but the new announcement marks the country's official approval of the plan. Now, NASA has created a Mars Sample Return Independent Review Board. Now that Perseverance is on its way to the Red Planet, NASA's getting ready for the next major step in Mars exploration, a sample return mission. This one, they're going to have to be careful on. Now, when they did Apollo to the Moon, they had the Lunar Receiving Lab out of a sort of just in case concern that there might be something alive on the moon that could be a threat to the earthly biosphere. Of course, the moon is where you put something to kill it, not keep it alive. Mars is different. And if we are to believe the labeled release experiment from the Viking landers back in 1976, there is something alive on Mars. And so it's going to have to be treated very, very carefully, bringing it back to Earth. Of course, it may be exposed to the Earth environment and choked to death. We think that's what happened in the labeled release experiment. Anyway, so NASA recently established a Mars Sample Return Program Independent Review Board to evaluate how to safely bring Martian rocks and materials back to Earth. I would say stop off at the ISS first. Check it out there before you bring it down to the planet. The statement comes in the wake of Perseverance rover launched to Mars last month to pick up and cache rock samples that could show signs of past Martian life. The nuclear-powered rover will land on February 18th, 2021. How about looking for present life? How about going back and looking at that crab-like thing that Curiosity photographed here? Okay. Fury over plan to release 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes in Florida Keys to kill insects carrying Zika and yellow fever, as locals branded a Jurassic Park experiment that could create superbugs. Some residents in the Florida Keys are furious over plans to release the mosquitoes to combat disease. The Florida Keys Mosquito Control District gave final approval Tuesday to the plan, which will be rolled out in 2021 and 2022. The transgenic insects classified as OX5034 have been modified to help cull the population of Aedes aegypti, a mosquito known to carry Zika, malaria, dengue, yellow fever, and other illnesses. However, residents and local wildlife groups worry the Jurassic Park experiment could just introduce a new breed of mosquitoes. Mistakes do get made. That's why Hawaii's got a problem with mongooses now. They were brought in to control the rats, And only after they were released did somebody remember that rats are nocturnal and mongooses operate during the daytime, so they never meet each other. There's an air leak on the International Space Station. It's forcing the onboard astronauts to spend the weekend in the station's Russian segment while NASA hunts down the source. And while the Russian section will close all the hatches on the station, allowing Earth-based experts to monitor air pressure levels and find the source of the leak. Commander Chris Cassidy and his crewmates Ivan Wagner and Anatoly Ivanishin will stay in the Zvezda service module from Friday night into Monday morning. NASA and Roscosmos said the situation represented no immediate danger to the crew or to the space station, but it was important to find the source. Gee, you think? Anyone missing a tank? Apparently up in Nebraska, the State Patrol discovered a military vehicle parked on the I-80 ramp after being abandoned by a trucking company following a training exercise out in California. Now, the future of AI may be in fighter jets. An AI pilot has beaten a U.S. Air Force F-16 Top Gun in the first ever simulator dogfight competition run by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency to determine if man can beat machine in the sky. The machine won. The human pilot says he can't cope with the robot's aggressive tactics and warns the things we do as fighter pilots aren't working. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. It's been kind of a slow news day. Now, the Three Gorges Dam was built to hold 175 meters of water. It's now sitting at 165 meters of water, and people are still worried about it. Some are saying the dam has actually shifted. Others are saying, no, it's perfectly safe, nothing to worry about, and all they can really do is watch it and try and let the water drain down a little bit. But the more rain that's coming in, the higher the water goes. People are very, very worried. If that were to let go, the flooding would reach all the way out to Shanghai on the coast. Okay, so now, apparently service industry workers in Maine now have to wear those dog cones because of the coronavirus. You know, those little things that wrap around the neck and there's the cone that goes up. And apparently, this is coming down from Janet Mills. The governor of Maine is demanding new protocols for service industry workers throughout the state that require them to wear dog cones around their necks while handling food at restaurants. If a server decides that he or she does not want to wear a face muzzle due to heat exhaustion and oxygen deprivation, then he or she will now be forced to slap on an inverted face shield, just like animals that have been recently spayed or neutered. That's humiliating. That's absolutely humiliating here. Okay, Georgia cop is placed on desk duty after a TikTok video viewed 19 million times showed him dragging a black woman, 22, and tasing her as he responded to a 911 call from a neighbor reporting a bottle thrown at a car. Okay. The Trump administration is investigating a university that punished Chinese American student for firearm photo protesting Tiananmen Square massacre. And let's see. Apparently, Rick Grinnell targets the LGBT community, saying Trump is the most pro-gay president in American history, and he can prove it. All right. Apparently, the sandwich factory that supplies M&S is forced to close for at least 2 weeks after 292 staff test positive for COVID. We talked about the New Zealand man thrown in jail for 6 weeks. Okay, the Princess Alexandria Hospital in Essex blasted for their mental health poster because the poster listed being LGBTQ along with disorders such as bipolar and schizophrenia. Twitter user Ellen Gibson shared her anger at the poster, sparking an online outrage. Well, I can see how that might have happened. Coronavirus is now only the 8th largest killer in England, and 4 times as many people are dying from dementia as the pandemic. Okay, we're going to take a break for commercials here. Join us on the air, 800-313-9443. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington too. You know it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy, but I must admit lately I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the seven seas. Yeah, I want to be a pirate. I want to do.
And welcome back to our show here. And a reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network and WhatReallyHappened.com are in a perpetual state of fundraising. We're having to buy new equipment. In fact, we had to buy a new printer today. Those ink cartridges cost as much as the printer do, by the way. And so we need your help to keep doing what we're doing. And the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity, cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. All right, let's go to the phones now to Paul in Montana. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mr. Rivero, Rangers, yes. Concerning masks, bordellos, and kinky viral what have you dolls, do you think we're witnessing the mechanization of the sex industry as in the oldest profession in the world? And I'll listen to your response on the air.
Well, you know, it's kind of weird to think about having the sex industry wear masks when so many other things are in contact with each other, potentially spreading viruses and germs back and forth. But if you look at some of the stuff that's going on over in Japan, certainly the mechanization of the world's oldest industry is proceeding apace, as it were. Thank you for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Mark inside the Beltway. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Hey, I'm calling in. I don't want to get off topic or anything, but because I just took a break from work, so I'm like, let me come out and call in, because I wanted to call in yesterday, but couldn't get a chance. But I did want to mention something, because I think it's something that because I told you I've been listening to the show for a while, and that was my first time calling in, but there's something that I've noticed that is not being mentioned. I hear a couple of people kind of mention it, but it's something I think that's really serious. And I want to go into it, but if do I got a minute? Do I got like a couple minutes?
Yeah, you got a couple minutes. Go for it.
Okay, I one of the reasons I really love the show is because you got a lot of good callers. There's a lot of intelligent people, and I noticed you are very intelligent. You got a lot of information. You go, you into the sciences and everything, and so I really like that. And so, but at the same time, the stuff that I hear some callers calling too, I'm like, okay, I don't know where they calling from, what planet. But hey, I at the same time, like I say, I like to hear everybody's opinion, because I think it's important that we all hear everyone out. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't care what you think or believe or whatever. As long as you can tell me, if I can say, well, why do you think I feel that, or why are you with that? And if they can give me a good reason, then I can be like, okay, you know what? I can understand that. I agree with it or not agree with it, but I can understand it. But, when I hear people just regurgitate the information they've been fed, I'm like, okay, I don't even want to go into this conversation. But one of the things I wanted to bring up was, about the history of the Khazarians. You know how eventually they was ran out of Russia.
Yes.
When they got down into Europe, how the German people really accepted them, and they did really good in Germany.
Yes.
And then how they sold Germany out in World War I, and Germany got crushed, right?
Yes.
And so, and then they still turned around and had taken over the politics and the banking and the media, because by that time they was controlling most of the newspapers and everything. So, and we know that the real story behind that whole situation was because Hitler removed them out of them positions.
Yes.
And that's when the country did good again. He got rid of the bank, moved them, and all the people loved him because he was doing really good, right?
Yes.
And to make a long story short, we know the outcome of the whole situation. We know that to this day, Hitler has been demonized to the point where it's like, he's just the world's greatest, whatever you want to name it, enemy or evil one or whatever. So, and then when you look at the history that's been given to German people during that time and the whole thing, it's like their name is mud. And all the time, the whole situation is half lies. We know the concentration camps wasn't real. We know it wasn't really an extermination program. That we know the Jews got killed, but that's because at that point they had, when Hitler took out them positions, they waged war on the German people internationally, right? Telling everybody not to buy German products. And so the German people started suffering. And so they really brought a lot of the problems on themselves. And so I'm saying all that just to say, I'm like, okay, now they got control of our banking system and all of our media and all of our politicians. So I'm like, I don't understand why the people.
Mark, I got to put you on hold. Mark, I got to put you on hold. Okay, just don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website, by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Hey gang, Patrick Slattery here with an important message that is pertinent to anyone who shops for groceries, eats food, or just has an inquisitive mind like myself. What I'm about to introduce you to is a segment of our food culture that has been kept so low profile to the American public that virtually no one is aware of how dominant it is on our refrigerator and cupboard shelves. What I'm talking about is the kosher certification industry and the new app, Koshertified, that delivers a comprehensive education on all aspects regarding this little-known practice. After reviewing this app, I found that it is useful for practically anyone who purchases food, regardless of their religious faith or identity. Its database of products not kosher certified is a win-win convenience for all food-conscious people. So why not check out the kosherquestion.com or click on the link at nationalbugle.com and see how modifying your grocery shopping with the Koshertified app can make a huge difference for your future.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show The Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Mark Inside the Beltway, who's giving us his unique perspective on World War II and the history of the Khazars. So, Mark, could you pick it up where you left off?
Yeah, so the main thing, because I don't want to take too much time, but I mainly just wanted to say that, you know, I'm looking at this whole situation and I'm like, wow, man, they're really playing the American people, mainly white people, to be honest, because they're playing your allies, and I don't think that you really realize the position. You are in the exact same position that the German people were in.
Yes.
And they are playing your allies, and at the same time, they're telling the world, and this is what they're the same way they're saying the whole white race group, because anyone intelligent know that, okay, you can't take a whole group of people and say everyone is one way, but they're playing that, and you got a lot of people that's not intelligent enough to know, because they're taking what all the leaders are doing, because remember, they're controlling the leaders. So they're making the leaders not only do things in the country that they can use as an example, saying, see what they're doing this, they're doing that. They're doing it worldwide too. So they're making all the other countries look at this country the same way. And eventually they're setting y'all up for the biggest smash. And it's crazy. I mean, the only way I can say it is if this was a football game, and I was the coach, I would take the team back in the locker room and I'd be like, look, this is the fourth quarter and you're down by 3. And if you don't know it or not, the referees are on the side of the other team. Nobody's playing by the rules no more. So It doesn't even matter all the voting and all of that. It's the people have to start getting together and drawing the line and see. I don't want to go into that type of talk because I don't want to. I'm just saying, it's a bad situation. Y'all are in a pickle, and I'm just saying, and the funny thing is, they're using the examples. They like, for instance, the taking down the statues and all that stuff. They're doing that purposely to poke at white people, and it's making y'all feed right into the stereotype that they're telling everyone that you're like. And because everyone does not, like, for instance, they might say, the whole, let's defund the police. We don't want nobody to defund the police. Who in the hell will want the police defunded? I mean, we all need police. Of course, it's bad police, but that's going to make people think, okay, they just want mad chaos out here. And so that will irritate anyone. You know what I mean? So, of course, it's crazy how the whole thing is happening. And so I'm just looking at, and even all of the stuff that they're funding. Like, they're funding the Me Too movement. That's making the women against you. Your own women are against you now. You know what I'm saying? They're funding all the Antifa, Black Lives Matter. So it's crazy how the whole thing is going down. And so I'm just like, I'm just saying, y'all, it need to be a new ball game plan or something, because y'all had to regroup and decide, look, me personally, I'm just saying this, I would start doing things where it's from county to county, state to state. Everyone needs to start saying, hold up, we need to decide who is on what side of the line. We need to draw the line from every citizen, police officer, whoever. Are you on the side of the people that's trying to destroy this country and take over this world, or are you on the side of the people that's trying to be free and is trying to have, be free and live peacefully? And, people need to decide what we're going to use for commerce. We all know the economy going to crash. We all know what they're doing. What we're going to use for commerce. It needs to be an agreement so things can function and people can, because the thing is, if this whole country crashes, it's still all of our country. You know what I mean? Don't nobody want to lose the country. So the thing is, but at the same time, the way everything's going, you got so many people that's brainwashed and going along to a certain drum that's being beat that, everyone going right into the same old ditch. And so it's just crazy, watching, how everything is going. But for the most part, that's what I see. It's just my opinion, Some people might agree, some people might disagree, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I've been listening for a while, and I'm noticing, I'm like, I don't think people realize the real thing that's coming down the pipeline. And the only thing I can say is, I hate to see this country got a lot of things that it has done that's bad, but this country has also been a special country in a lot of ways too. And I just hate to see everything be thrown down the drain and we wind up being labeled like the German people was, and this country just being, forever known as. It
could very easily happen.
Something like that.
With all of the wars that the United States government is starting all over the world. I think 50 years from now, the
Yeah.
Stars and Stripes will be viewed with the same revulsion as the swastika is today.
And they're making it easy for everyone to eventually team up and want to just get rid of us, the whole country.
Yes.
So it's just some food for thought. That's all.
Well, thanks a lot for the phone call, Mark. We're going to let you go and switch over to Keith Rogers. Hello, Keith. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Well, for one thing, my knees are killing me, and they're sore to politicians, I tell you. Anyway, hey, I want to thank Mark for mentioning that word freedom, because that's all it's about. It's not about patriotism. Too many people have died because of that so-called alleged patriotism. Anyway, Mark, I just wanted to plug my show because I got a special guest coming on Sunday at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. I have the surviving editor of Covert Action magazine, who they have recently restarted that magazine. And that magazine was basically almost shut down entirely by the CIA for exposing their crimes back through the 70s and 80s. And my guest will be Lewis Wolf. And we'll be discussing some old hashed out stuff like that about other agents, the real heroes of this country, the ex-NSA, FBI, CIA, and those LEOs and stuff that have all came forward and exposed the crimes of this country and stuff. And I think it'd be a very worthwhile show for your listeners to listen to. And just a quick note here from Mark. If he calls back in the board there and asks Mike for my email address, I'll give him some World War II history you can look at. But anyway, I just wanted to plug my show if you didn't mind there, Mike. And I hope you and your beautiful wife have a good day, okay?
All right. Thanks an awful lot. And that's 8 p.m. or 8 a.m.?
8 p.m. Perception Management on RBN.
Mountain
and that's
Time.
Montana time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot.
All right, thanks, Mike.
We're going to switch over to Jim in Illinois. Hello, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, Michael. Yeah, I was thinking about this. Do you really think Donald Trump wants to get reelected?
There have been times when I wondered if maybe he just would soon, retire after one. But at the moment, it looks like he's really working at reelection. That speech he gave in Pennsylvania yesterday was a real good one.
I know he loves campaigning, but he doesn't like to work. That's the difference. Well, Barack Obama was the same way. He loved the campaign, but when it came to making certain decisions, he wasn't that sharp, and Donald Trump is the same way. So this is why I'm wondering, does he really want to be reelected? Because he knows we have some major difficult days ahead of us. Not only the virus, but also the economy. So, it wouldn't surprise me if he said, you know what, I did my 4 years. I got a lot of attention. I'm going to be fine for the rest of my life. I'm out of here.
There have been times when I wondered if he was thinking that, but right now I think that his ego is saying that if he doesn't go for the full 2 terms, he'll be seen as somewhat less in the history books.
Well, that's a good point. And finally, Steve Bannon, I don't know if he's just stupid or he felt he could get away with it. I know your caller yesterday stated he doesn't need, he has a lot of money. But people with a lot of money, they always want more money. So I don't know what Steve Bannon is coming from, and his relationship with the Chinese guy. That would be very interesting to find out what their relationship was. Well, Michael, that's it. You have a nice weekend.
All right, same to you. Have a nice weekend. We're going to switch over to Miles in Maine. Hello, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Miles, are you there? Guess we lost him, so let's switch over to Al in Canada. Hello, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I called to talk to you about corporations and all the damage they could do.
Yes.
So there are basically 2 kinds, right?
Yes.
Corporations that produce things and corporations that are quote unquote used as a charitable organization. Black Lives Matter falls under the latter.
Mm-hmm.
Apple falls under the first. And there are a lot of companies just like Apple. Apple is kind of unique in that it is the only company in the world that's worth $2 trillion, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They actually have a surplus, which means, as far as debt-based economy is concerned, they actually have capital in which to do things with. And that's what the scary part is. So you have other companies in a similar position, whatever they are, Microsoft, Facebook, whatever. They kind of all get together and they could stir up a world of hurt, couldn't they?
Yes. Well, they already are. Look at the corporate social media.
Yes. Yes. Well, someone owns those, and you know, they're the mouthpiece of whoever owns them. And of course, like I said, they could stir up a lot of trouble. Even though none of it's true, it's all nonsense. But in today's world of indoctrination and dumbing down, how is one to know the difference? I mean, you and I do.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't that buy into this. They hear like little, what's the word they use? Talking points, or there's something else. What do they call it? So they hear these things, right? And what it'll be like someone's speech, a 40-minute speech, and within that 40-minute speech, they'll take a couple of vowels from here, a couple of vowels from there, a couple of vowels and words from here, and they'll piece it all together. And next thing you know, they got something that they call that this person said, which is absolute nonsense. A lot of the time,
yes.
It is the media, and you people have free speech. So the media can do this too, can't they? Lie with impunity.
Yeah. There's no law that says the corporate media has to be truthful.
Exactly. It's just like there's no law that says the police have to actually, protect the people.
Yep.
So as bad as your country seems to be, and it's an election year, right?
Yes.
So, you get all this nonsense stirred up every 4 years. Some of it peters off, although not in your country, because of those goddamn Democrats, right? Anyway,
right.
Someone said to me the other day when I went out to grab something and pick up a part, said, how much do you want to bet that after the election, all this just disappears? I said, well, it's going to.
Yeah.
Unless Donald Trump gets reelected.
Yeah, then it's going to really, really kick up there.
Right.
But COVID-19 is going to go away. The economy is going to crash for real, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Mike? Up here in Canada, we're 10 times as small as you are.
Yes.
There are 100,000 restaurants that will never open back up.
Yeah.
In your country, that's 1 million. How many people is that are jobless? At least
Probably
2 million, I would say.
2-3 million, maybe more.
Yeah. See, and little bits of truth that come trickling out here and there. That really tells the real story because of that simple stat right there. 100. This is in Canada. I'm willing to bet there are probably 60,000 restaurants in the New York area alone that will never open up, and that's where your culinary art school is.
Yes.
And there were some great restaurants around New York, like New York City, to the north of it. A huge amount. So I mean, this is so bad what they've done to us, and they didn't have to, because Sweden is they're almost done, right, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, there hasn't been. I heard today on the news there hasn't been a death in Canada of COVID-19 in 4 weeks. A few cases here and there, and here we are wearing masks, social distancing, and everything's still kind of locked up, right?
Yes.
There's more to this than meets the eye. A lot more. I appreciate your time, Mike. You have a good show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch to Miles in Maine. Hello, Miles. Welcome back. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Yeah, I wish I'd quit hearing this kind of speculative stuff by the last caller. Although he had some good points with his mathematics and numbers, I don't think nobody can really tell for sure, because this is such an integrated type of economy. I've had restaurant owners tell me that they're doing very well because of the fact that they don't have people in the restaurants, so they don't have to provide lighting. They don't have to provide water. They don't have to provide someone to set up the tables and to bus them and stuff like that. And the carryouts are doing very well. So I think it just remains to be seen. You know, I don't think anything's certain. And who knows with what divergent position the economy can take. I mean, if the stock market people are doing well off of what they had, and of course they dump their stocks and switch them to other things in anticipation of all this, I think there's going to be some entrepreneurs that will make it. Even in 1929, there were those who, you know, made it in different diverse, you know, activities in terms of the economy. So I think
okay, well, listen, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to put you on hold, Miles. Don't hang up. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new EaseOff Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The EaseOff lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the EaseOff? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my EaseOff?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry, because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows, too. EaseOff LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cachingproperty.com. That's cachingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Nikki, great product. Have to try it for a few months to see results. After taking Extendovite for about 6 months, I have noticed improvement on the numbness of my hands and wrists from carpal tunnel. I will continue to buy the product. 10 Peaks, 5 out of 5 stars. Works as advertised. This formula is very powerful. Be careful to follow directions. I am feeling much better. My heart rate and blood pressure has stabilized and my lower edema has reduced. Lower leg pain due to blood clots has disappeared. Thank you. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, I mean the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Miles in Maine. And Miles, you know, even in 1929, as you pointed out, there were certain entrepreneurs who did very, very well. But you can't really judge the health of an entire economy by the few people who are successful. I think we can all agree that a healthy economy is where everybody enjoys a certain modicum of success.
Well, that's true, but I think it's a little bit early now to judge where everything's going to be. We know our numbers are going to be down, but we don't know what might recover. We don't know what might emerge. Those are all options that have not been exercised yet at this point. So until we see those, that's when we can truly judge. But I also wanted to comment on the two callers back regarding Trump. It's more Trump bashing again. Yes, Trump likes to campaign. You know why? Because Trump likes to relate to his voters and his people. And that's why he keeps them abreast and he keeps them in his corner, because he's able to do that. The great communicator. That's what Trump is.
Mm-hmm.
So, Trump likes to, but to compare him to Obama, how do you compare him to Obama? Obama had no money when he came in and he stole everything he has. Trump's been a businessman from the day one since his father raised him and created his own wealth. So I don't even understand where that guy's coming from. Also, I'd like to, for everybody to understand this, it was just shortly, a little bit ago, the Ninth Circuit, they were trying to get through a ban on magazines, some kind of limit of 3 rounds or 5 rounds. Well,
the Ninth Circuit overruled that.
Exactly, and that just happened to be part of the seats that Trump filled. So, Trump is doing some good things, but, for the guy to come out there and compare him to Obama, Obama's a clown. He was a state senator and rose to all this. Then he got elected to the. Come on, this guy. Where are these people at? Let's start thinking here a little bit. And then the caller with the history and all that is talk about, and I appreciated his call, and he had several good points. But to say, it's the Caucasians or whatever that don't understand. Now, your audience, I think, understands very well who it is. I think it's his people and him that don't realize they're always the tool to be used. They're the vehicle for the dissension and the riots and the never satisfied approach that we've seen from them. It's them. It's those people that are doing that. And it's not everybody, but it's that segment. It's that Marxist communist group that gets saturated by the overseers, by the overlords that like to promote and provoke that. And that's, exactly where that type of societal misfunction comes in. You don't see this going on with anywhere else, but they always seem to migrate to that one group to create the dissension and the turmoil. And look, every day you see something with them going on in it. We're making martyrs of these Browns and Floyds and all these guys, all these people that are ne'er-do-wells, derelicts of society. So, no, it's not these people that don't. These people here that listen to your show understand really well. I mean, Richard understands really well. Lenny understands from California. Lenny understands very well.
Okay, Miles, we're going to have to let you go. We got to take a break for station identification. We've got another caller waiting on the line, plus the lovely Lady Claire, and we will be right back.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store, or call us.
800-724-2719 extension 3. 800-724-2719 extension 3.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show. Hour number 2, we're going to go take a phone call from Andy in Texas. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Hey, first off, I don't want to take up too much time because I love Lady Claire, and not as much as you do, but I do. And first off, I want to tell people that, Donald Trump's not your savior. He hasn't done anything to roll this back since he's been the president in the first 8 months. And he's not going to do anything after he's elected. This is part of the plan, and he's been here to just represent us through this thing. Fine and dandy. But that's not what I called for. What I called for is to let the RBN audience know that people, you need to embrace this platform. Mike does this because he does this. He's not getting paid to do this. This is a platform for the people. Mike is one of the people that give you a platform to come up and say what you want to say, and he spends most of his program indulging in the fact that people call. And it's just a wonderful platform. I think people need to realize that they have to support this platform along with the RBN platform and what the Catholic platform. And I am so thankful for you and your wife and the entire RBN network. You guys have been there when I needed you, and I needed you a lot. And I know a lot of people need it. But hey, if you guys got something you want to talk about, get it on the phone. 1-800-313-9443. Give a call. Get involved. Do what's important to you. Right now is the time where we need to hear from other people. Thanks, Mike. Tell Lady Claire.
Thanks an awful lot for the phone call here. And Lady Claire, what's your first story?
Well, I saw this confirmed, and it took me a bit aback. And it's a headline I think we need to pay attention to, and was found in both Zero Hedge and Drudge. Apparently, a Pakistani minister has threatened India with a nuclear attack, quote, to save Muslim lives on national television. Now, right now, there are continued top-level talks between India and China, and the two sides have agreed that they're going to work toward complete disengagement of troops from the contested line of control in the disputed eastern border. But now it appears that tensions are shifting right back to the western border once again, and New Delhi's most immediately threatening nuclear rival, Pakistan. Now, this charge was made by a very highly visible member of the National Assembly of Pakistan, who has grabbed national headlines in Pakistan for threatening India with nuclear war. The guy's name is Prime Minister Sheikh Rashid, and he told a national broadcaster during an interview that his country's nuclear arsenal will save Muslim lives should India conduct acts of aggression. Well, I don't know if this was for domestic consumption, because he is the leader of a very large, very popular Muslim political party. But Prime Minister Khan, I know that in your former professional life as a cricket player, you were a legend in the game. I also know that you made the suggestion last year when you were very upset with India's behavior about, talked about nuclear weapons. But I'm asking you right now to be as great a diplomat as you have been a cricket player. If there is no hotline between New Delhi and Islamabad, Mike, do you know if that exists?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I would presume there's some method of direct communication.
Yeah, this needs to happen immediately. Khan has got to talk to Narendra Modi and figure out what can be done together to ratchet down this tension. And let me explain why it's important. Okay, China has a massive trade pact with Pakistan, and in fact are building a huge part in Gwadar Deep Seaport, which is strategically located at the mouth of the Straits of Hormuz. Straits of Hormuz, does that ring a bell to anybody?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, flashpoint, folks. And any potential threat to this port is going to be construed as a threat to China's security and its economy, because its navy could well use it as a launch pad into the Indian Ocean. And secondly, and this comes to us from the Economic Times in July. Now, this is for what it's worth. I had a hard time. There were a couple of articles, but they came and went. Apparently, Pakistan has entered into a deal as of last month with the infamous Wuhan Institute of Virology, and they have signed a covert deal with the Pakistani military to collaborate on research in emerging infectious diseases. Now, whether this has actually happened or not, I'm not sure, but it is food for thought. Now, secondly, this situation is a threat, and it's important because in 2016, under President Obama's watch, there was an agreement signed between the US and India, which is a military logistics agreement. Now, this was a step toward building defense ties as China continues to be assertive at the Indian border, which has led to some very bad skirmishes. And if Pakistan does start a war against India, it will most likely have military help from China. And India most likely will have military help from the US. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes, I can see where.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping that some adults in the room internationally who please have some credibility left can stop this before it starts and encourage some confidence building measures here. This could seriously be the beginning of World War III, Mike, and I'm hoping it goes no further than the guy was just blown off steam.
Well,
what are your thoughts?
It could have been for internal consumption.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, it does feel like everybody's just edging closer and closer to World War III, and they're just waiting for a starting time and for somebody else to fire the first shot.
Yeah. And back last fall, this is about Iraq. We noted that China had received some major deals for oil development in Iraq, but that may be changing. Another headline again from ZeroHedge.com. It's a very sober-sided blog. I suggest you check it out. President Trump has again vowed that all U.S. troops will soon be out of America's second longest occupation in Iraq, behind the longest running war in Afghanistan. But curiously, like in neighboring Syria, he has tied concluding the U.S. mission there directly to the possibility of oil and resource benefits for American companies. And he's quoted as saying this: "We look forward to the day when we don't have to be there," Trump said in an Oval Office meeting with Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi. "We were there and now we're getting out. We will be leaving shortly and the relationship is very good." I don't know if he's talked to any Iraqi people on the ground.
No.
Hello, Mr. President, not good. We're making very big oil deals. Our oil companies are making massive deals. We are going to be leaving, and hopefully we're going to be leaving a country that can defend itself. Mike, this looks to me like economic blackmail. I mean, how do I call it anything else?
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, the U.S. wants to keep control over Iraq and its oil.
Mhm.
But Trump understands the American people are sick and tired of war, and they want to start pulling out from Afghanistan and Iraq and Syria and the rest of it.
Yeah.
So he's trying to make it look like we're leaving Iraq, even though we're maintaining control over Iraq.
Yeah, which is as much economic as it is military.
Well, it's more economic than military. That's why he can pull the troops out.
Mm-hmm. And folks, you had to see this coming. Apparently, 6 Democratic states have filed a lawsuit against the United States Postal Service for impeding free and fair elections. Mike, this coming election in November looks like it's going to be an industrial strength train wreck. What are your thoughts on this lawsuit?
Well, I think the lawsuit is absolutely silly.
Yeah.
The Democrats are trying to force a vote by mail. They're fanning up this COVID-19 crisis to scare people away from the polling places because the vote by mail is how they can stuff the ballot boxes. I mean, there are some states that are even setting up collection bins, which are completely unmonitored boxes where you can just dump ballots in. And yeah, they're not even trying to hide the fact that they're cheating their way.
Yeah, it's How long after the actual election will we actually know who won the presidency?
I don't know. It could turn into another debacle like Florida in 2000, where it's
Yeah.
going to go all the way to the
Mhm.
United States Supreme Court, and they will anoint a president for us.
Yeah. Looking at Turkey, apparently Erdogan is announcing the biggest gas discovery in Turkey's history as the lira
Invade.
resumes the plunge.
Yes.
Turkey's lira was up as much as 1% ahead of President Tayyip Erdogan's major announcement today, crucially before stumbling right back down, in which he declared a major, significant gas find in the Black Sea. He unveiled the biggest gas discovery in Turkey's history during a speech in Istanbul. Now, Bloomberg is saying the Turkish lira erased gains against the US dollar as Erdogan continued his speech. Borsa Istanbul 100 index reversed more than 1.3% gains to 0.7% loss, because I think many people see this as a desperate attempt by Erdogan to provide some deus ex machina as Turkey's economy is imploding and locals are fleeing the lira to buy gold. That can't be great.
No, that can't be good.
No.
You would normally think a gas discovery like that would drive the national currency up, but something else is going on.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to wonder with the dispute with Cyprus and the dispute with Greece over various oil basins in the area, if it's actually Turkey's.
Well, of course, that's a matter of some debate right now. Now, Greece is indicating that they're willing to start negotiating to draw some actual hard maritime boundaries.
Yes.
But Erdogan seems to have the attitude of wanting it all.
Yeah. He seems rather, how can I put this kindly? I don't know that I can, but he seems very caliphate
Yes.
centric in his thinking,
Yes.
and wants to make Turkey great again, but at terrible expense to some of his neighbors. Speaking of which, the UAE will now reportedly send F-16s to Greece amid Athens' drilling row with Turkey. Now, earlier in August, the UAE had hailed a deal between Egypt and Greece on their exclusive economic zones in the Eastern Mediterranean as a victory for international law. The accord was clinched amid Athens-Ankara tension over what Greece described as Turkey's illegal drilling in the area. Now, the UAE is due to send some F-16 fighter jets to the key Greek port of Suda as part of a trilateral defense agreement between the UAE, Greece, and Egypt, the state-run Greek broadcaster ERT reported on Friday. Now, the warplanes are expected to take part in joint military exercises in the Eastern Mediterranean. This outlet added without elaborating. The UAE authorities have not commented on the matter yet, and apparently Abu Dhabi's reported move to deliver the F-16s to Suda followed the nation's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Anwar Gargash, welcoming the Athens-Cairo agreement defining their exclusive economic zones, EEZs, in the Eastern Mediterranean. Mike, what's going on here?
Everybody's jockeying for position. And again, the wild card is Turkey, which is coming on in there. And it looks like Egypt and Greece and the UAE are trying to form an alliance to sort of hem Turkey in from more on the eastern side, while Greece tries to hem them in on the western.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who have never read RT, Russia Today in English, there is some very excellent reporting and covering of the news. And there is a gentleman for whom I have tremendous respect. His name is Scott Ritter, which to people who follow American history in the last 20 years may remember very positively. He's done some really great investigative reporting.
Well, he was a weapons investigator in Iraq.
Yeah.
He was one of the people who was out there saying there are no nuclear weapons here.
Yes, that guy. And the article is headlined, U.S. is willing to dismantle the UN Security Council to put pressure on Iran. And apparently, yesterday, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo ignored the warnings from the other JCPOA parties on the Iran deal, met with the president of the Security Council because he was delivering a letter announcing that the U.S. was activating the snapback procedures and that at 30 days it would be calling for a vote on the matter by the Security Council. Michael, why is this guy doubling down on dumb?
Well,
he's not going to get it.
No, he's not. I mean,
Yeah.
you would think after the refusal to extend the arms embargo, that the U.S. would get the message that the rest of the JCPOA signatories are sick and tired of the U.S. throwing its weight around.
Yeah.
As Germany pointed out, the U.S. isn't part of the deal anymore. The U.S. pulled out.
Yeah.
They really have nothing to say about it. It's
No.
none of their business.
Mhm.
And, I noticed even on Fox News when they are out there with Mike Pompeo,
Mhm.
they're illustrating his bit with videos of rockets taking off and shots of bombs and just
Ah.
really pushing that Iran is coming to
Hello.
get you if we don't get them first.
Yeah.
And apparently Pompeo is now threatening China and Russia with sanctions if they dare to interfere.
Oof, that's rough.
Yes.
That's really rough.
I'm seeing the decline of an empire here.
Yeah. Everything has a life cycle, people.
That's true.
Governments, species.
And U.S. hegemonic domination is getting kind of past the sell-by date.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what Ritter says about this is that a likely outcome will be that the Security Council fails to recognize the U.S. submission of the resolution, followed by the U.S. refusing to recognize the Security Council's ability to prevent such a resolution from being submitted. I mean, the UN Security Council is in uncharted waters with this whole thing.
Yes, it is.
Really. And for true, the U.S. will then seek to submit the resolution, then immediately veto it, and claim that the snapback has been accomplished. Mike, tortured logic in the extreme.
Absolutely.
And then the rest of the Security Council will reject this action and deem the JCPOA to be in play, free of UN sanctions. And then the U.S. will then sanction any party which fails to comply with the UN sanctions. Now, if this were actually to occur, Mike, this would mean the functional death and dismemberment of the UN Security Council.
Yes.
Do you think that's what Trump is trying to do here?
I don't think he's trying to do it, but I think it's a very real possibility that he's going to break it. The question is, what will the Security Council do? Will they move to eject the United States?
Good question. Good question. What Ritter is thinking in the midst of this mess is that some UN Security Council members, maybe France, Germany, and the UK, may feel compelled to re-examine their position on the lifting of the arms embargo, seek a compromise solution that salvages the JCPOA while denying Iran access to Russian and Chinese armaments. What do you think?
Well, the JCPOA deal is intact.
Yeah.
It's just the United States pulled out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't get a sense that France or Great Britain or Germany are really all that interested in getting the U.S. back into the deal. They're just trying to get the U.S. to sort of remember the fact that they're not part of the deal anymore.
Yeah, I mean, selective memory disorder big time. I think that's what they're dealing with in the White House and Pentagon right now.
Well, Pompeo is out there throwing his weight around and, he's sort of used to this idea of the United States as leader of the free world. But unfortunately, that's not true anymore.
No.
The arms embargo vote, I think, kind of showed that America has lost its leadership position and that other countries are getting tired of all of this. Right.
I'd like to go over now to China. And apparently Hong Kong has denied bail to the first pro-democracy activist arrested under the controversial national security law. And they just denied bail to this guy. And they rejected his lawyer's argument that the controversial national sec law was invalid because it conflicts with the basic law, the British-designed constitution that has governed Hong Kong for decades.
Okay, we got to take a break here for commercials.
Got it.
We'll be right back.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed the newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
The newspaper? Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, a majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper does not give out the important attention on what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
Welcome back to our show. Here, we're going to take a phone call now from Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Mike. I just heard what you were saying with the so-called sanctions that they want to put on Russia and China.
Yes.
You know, I think Pompeo is actually either completely stupid or he's on some kind of drug. All right?
Yes.
One of the reasons we're having, sorry, I had something now. One of the reasons we're having so much problems with the dollar is falling with all these stupid sanctions. Russia is not using the dollar at all anymore. And I think China is getting away from it too. All right?
Yes.
Russia is not getting hurt, has actually been helped by these sanctions we've putting on the last few years because they diversified their economy. Their economy is doing great. They're not in debt. We are. Not in they don't owe a dollar. They're actually in China. China's right now in much better shape than we are. This guy's got to be nuts. I mean, he's actually so arrogant, and the problem is Trump keeps it. One of the reasons I'm still going to vote for Trump. Again, I got no choice. Which way you want to be shot by a 45 or a 12-gauge shotgun? That's what it comes down to between Trump and Biden. Okay, I guess I'll take the 45. I'll take a chance of the 45 because that's how. But both of these guys are horrible, and they're leading this country down to total disaster, financial and other ways. The only good thing I can say is finally the empire might end, and maybe we can get our real republic back. But that's about it, Mike. I don't know what you think about that. You and your wife, you know. But really, I think look, this guy's got to go. Pompeo is awful. All right, thanks.
Yeah, there's no question that as far as I'm concerned, they're almost flogging a dead horse here because they've hit sanctions so much. As you say, the rest of the world is moving away from the dollar. And without that international demand, there's nothing else propping up the value of the dollar. And that's why we're seeing it take a nosedive right now. Hello? Okay, I guess we just lost him.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and pick up your phone call.
Yeah, the story. The guy's name is Tong Ying King, 23. He's a waiter, and he was arrested in July after riding his motorcycle festooned with flags bearing illegal messages about an independent Hong Kong into a crowd of police officers. He was charged with inciting separatism and terrorism for carrying a flag that read, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times." Now, according to the SCMP, Tong's application for a writ of habeas corpus hinged on an interpretation of Article 42 in the National Sec Law, which specifies that no bail shall be granted unless the judge has sufficient grounds for believing the criminal suspect or defendant will not continue to commit acts endangering national security. Now, I mean, how much more transparent could that kid have been riding into a group of patrol people, of police? Hello.
Yep.
I mean, come on. It's obvious that this was the outcome he wanted. But I think he's going to rue the day because he's going to wind up in jail for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And Mike, what do you think the future of dissent, peaceful dissent, not writing into people, but peaceful dissent, may be in China as things evolve?
I think that the Chinese government is going to come down on Hong Kong as hard as they've come down on the rest of China itself, because they see Hong Kong as part of mainland China. The same thing with Taiwan.
Yeah.
And I think what we're embarking on is a period of consolidation where Beijing is going to say, look, this is all ours, and we're all going to, run it the way we think it ought to be run.
By the way, I agree. And speaking of China, there is a very renowned EU scientist who is making the statement that COVID-19 was likely engineered in a Chinese lab, and an effective vaccine against this is unlikely. Now, this was authored by Stephen Mosher via LifeSiteNews.com. And you can't call this guy a crackpot or some sort of a Johnny-come-lately. The guy's name is Professor Giuseppe Trito. Can't call him a crank. He is an internationally known expert in biotechnology and nanotechnology who has had this incredible academic career, but he is also the president of the World Academy of Biomedical Sciences and Technologies, WABT, an institution founded under the aegis of UNESCO in 1997. So this guy's got some gravitas. Now, equally important, one of the goals of WABT is to analyze the effect of biotechnologies like genetic engineering on humans.
And on that thought, we need to put you on hold.
Okay.
Because we got to take another break for commercials.
All right.
And we shall be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Okay.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an Energy Cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an Energy Cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
Welcome back to our show here, and Claire is talking to us about Professor Giuseppe Tritto's new book, where he's talking about the Wuhan virus. So take it away.
Yeah. And what the guy says is that China virus definitely wasn't a freak of nature that just happened to cross the species barrier from bat to human. It was genetically engineered in the Wuhan Institute of Virology's P4 high containment lab in a program supervised by the Chinese military. Now, what sets this book apart, Mike, is the fact that it demonstrates pretty conclusively the pathway by which a PLO-owned coronavirus was genetically engineered to be and modified to become the China virus now ravaging the world. His account leaves no doubt that it is a chimera, an organism created in a lab. But he goes even further. He also connects the dots, linking the Wuhan lab to France and the US, showing how both countries offered financial and scientific help to the Chinese as they began to conduct ever more dangerous bioengineering experiments. Now, although neither American or French virologists are responsible for the end result, the infectious coronavirus and a global pandemic, their early involvement may explain why so many insist that the chimera must have come from nature. The last thing they want to admit is that they may have had a hand in it. Mike, your thoughts?
Well, I've been saying all along, if this is a biological weapon, it's a very poor one, and that it was probably more likely a work in progress and somebody dropped a test tube.
Okay.
Because it's not that infectious, and it's certainly not that lethal. And in fact, in hindsight, it looks like a lot of the concerns and predictions of millions of dead were extremely overblown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's an artificially created biological weapon, it's incomplete. It's not finished yet. All right. We're going to take a phone call now from Rob in New York. Hello, Rob. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike and Claire. I just want to wish you guys a happy Friday.
Thank you.
And yeah, I just wanted to start off by thanking Dustin for calling in yesterday and not mentioning masks a single time. That was really appreciated. And I also, I wanted to comment quickly too on the Steve Bannon arrest. I know a couple of callers, I guess Dustin is one of them, have kind of called in and assumed that he's guilty before being proved so. So I just want to remind people that are, he could be innocent until proven guilty. And there's, a lot of potential political shenanigans that are going on with that arrest. And just look at like maybe Michael Flynn and some other, a lot of other people close to Trump that have been arrested and under, less than ideal circumstances. So before, gloating that he's, so guilty and everything, maybe we should wait and see how that turns out. But the main topic I called about was Belarus. I know you've talked about that a few times this week, but I just wanted to say, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I think one of the callers kind of alluded to it, but didn't really go too in depth to it. But Ron Paul actually reported on it a couple of weeks back that the president of Belarus had actually been not complying with the face mask orders and the economic lockdowns and everything. And I know that they are talking a lot about how the election was rigged and all these other, however the media is covering it. I personally don't know exactly what grounds they're saying it was rigged on or, in regards to that. But mainly I just want to point out, going back to even what Claire was just saying, how it seems all this mail-in voting and everything is seeming to be designed to make our election into a circus and just kind of cause chaos and confusion. And I think we should maybe look at this potentially as like a beta or like a test of what they might try to do in our election by, getting everyone suspicious that there was, rigging. And if Trump's not playing ball, I also want to mention back in Belarus, so he wasn't complying, and the World Bank actually is not issuing them their loans because of that. So you can kind of see how a lot of these countries maybe are complying with all these lockdowns and everything if they're not getting their money. So if he's not playing ball with them, you could see how maybe they're trying to gin up suspicion that he was, the election was rigged and he's not a legitimate ruler. And, whether the media is covering that everyone is suspicious of it and whether they really are, there could be people out in the streets. I think you could see the same thing happening in America.
Yes.
They're going to, say it was rigged, and even there will be people on the streets, whether they're paid protesters or whether they legitimately are confused, or maybe, there'll be some legitimate grounds to be suspicious. But you could see the media doing the same thing in America and saying, Trump's not a legitimate ruler and the elections were rigged. And I think we just kind of need to carefully look at what's going on in Belarus before just, agreeing with the media that he did rig the election and he is illegitimate, and potentially look at maybe they are manufacturing that because he's not playing along with their COVID restrictions.
Well, there's the other
And I
issue
wonder
that has
what
to
your
do
thoughts
with, whose sphere of influence Belarus is going to be in. Now, the conventional wisdom is that under the current political leadership, Belarus is in the Russian sphere of influence. That's not entirely true because the relationship between Lukashenko, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lukashenko and Putin is not a very, very good one. His challenger, though, has definitely indicated a desire to bring Belarus into the Western sphere of influence. And so there's definitely a geopolitical motive to try and get Lukashenko out and get a new government in.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could be part of it too. So I just, maybe want to suggest that everything's not at face value in regards to their election there. And it could be politically motivated based on, going towards Russia or going towards the West. And also the fact that they're not playing along with the COVID lockdowns. And then I just want to wrap up real quick and just remind everyone that Plandemic 2 is out there. Ben Swan just started a new platform. It's called ISE.media, which is hosting it. And he's doing a great job offering an alternative platform that will be censorship free without, all these phony fact checkers and everything. So I encourage everyone to watch it and also just support the platform and keep an eye on it, because I think that's something the world needs more of, is alternative platforms.
I agree.
All right. Well, that's all I got. And keep doing what you're doing and have a great weekend.
Same to you. Have a great weekend. And Claire, back to you.
Yes, and I noticed that there is a wee bit of an article on one of the news feeds that we watch.
Fox News is already is covering the same story.
I have to laugh because Chicago Mayor Lightfoot is defending a ban on protesters on her block. Now, in the aftermath of the George Floyd killing, which was tragic and awful and should never have happened, there have been protests erupting in dozens of cities in California, with hundreds of thousands of people taking to the streets. And despite the corona pandemic, they were cheered on loudly by the state's liberal elite, with some of the most prominent Hollywood actors taking daily turns to voice their support for the protesters while condemning anyone who did not side with the BLM movement, even when so frequently it devolved into violent rioting and looting of innocent bystanders. All of that abruptly ended, however, when BLM invaded Beverly Hills chanting, "Eat the rich." That's when the police showed up quickly and immediately cleared out all the protesters.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. Now, while some NIMBY hypocrisy has long been a feature of California, nothing compares to what happened in Chicago, where Mayor Lori Lightfoot, best known for encouraging local Black Lives Matter protests and going so far as to say that Black lives are more important than downtown corporations, after the unprecedented looting that took place last week, defended the Chicago Police Department's ban on protesters being able to demonstrate on the block where she lives. And she told reporters yesterday that she and her family at times required heightened security because of the threats that they are receiving. And yes, Mayor Lori is all about Black Lives protest, just as long as they're not in her backyard. So
Yes.
I really want to get it straight with this lady. I'm feeling a Joan Rivers, can we talk moment. Let me get this straight in my head. Other people's homes and businesses can be burned to the ground by BLM, including the businesses of minorities, but not hers. Mayor Lightfoot, forgive me. I mean, that was an extraordinary display of tone deafness, coupled with a couple of shots of good hypocrisy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
the Magnificent Mile got trashed twice now,
Yep.
but her home is protected.
Yeah, her home is protected. And I have to think back at the Rodney King riots, Mike.
Yes.
And the first place I seem to remember that the protesters went to were liquor stores owned by Korean families
Yes.
in South Central.
Yes.
And I mean, these people, when they found out they could work like 20 hours a day, did to build up a business, to build up rapport with the neighborhood, and they just had it destroyed. you know.
Well, the reason for that was very simple. I mean,
Yeah.
the black population was out there saying, we're in an economically depressed neighborhood. Nobody can be successful here. And here the Koreans came on in and they
Yeah.
were being successful.
Yeah.
And it sort of said the problem isn't the neighborhood, the problem is the people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when the riots broke out. They started targeting those successful businesses.
Mm-hmm. Swallowing. Apparently, in Russia, a Russian bank has just issued its first precedent-setting crypto-backed loan. I thought this was interesting. And amid the euphoria over DeFi, or decentralized finance, in crypto space, which leverages decentralized networks to transform old financial products into trustless and transparent protocols, among other things, provide loans to businesses or the public with no intermediaries present, a Russian bank has become the first lender in the country to issue loans secured by cryptocurrency tokens. Now, this came out of the English language Russia's Kommersant. Lender Expo Bank said it issued an individual loan to Mikhail Uspensky earlier this week, with Uspensky putting up Wave's crypto tokens as collateral for the agreement. And the size of the loan was not disclosed. But Mike, is this not precedent creating?
It is precedent creating. It's basically
Yeah.
saying that Bitcoins can now be used as collateral for loans.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if the value of the Bitcoins drops during the term of the loan and the loan
Mhm.
defaults, then it could get really kind of complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically they're saying crypto tokens are now an item with
Mhm.
intrinsic value.
Yep. Yeah. Do you think that this was a one-off, or do you think this is going to be more gradually accepted?
I think if it makes money, it'll become accepted.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I would agree with you. And this is talking about white flight, and it's real. And Hollywood's apocalypse triggers a mass exodus. And people are apparently taking losses on their homes to get out. Now, this is a veteran publicist, Ed Lotzi, and he told the Daily Mail while referring to the socioeconomic implosion of Los Angeles. And Lotzi said that the LA metropolitan area was already changing before the coronavirus brought LA to its knees. And the problem has been escalating with the homeless, exacerbated by weak decisions, making bad decisions.
Weak politicians
Weak
making,
politicians, yes.
making bad decisions.
I'm sorry, dyslexic Suntai. And Hollywood has always been the wokest of the woke, so politicians did nothing to stop people sleeping on the streets. It's not illegal, and the weather's nice. He said, adding, there's insufficient housing, inadequate medical care, adding COVID-19, and it's the perfect storm. Apparently, he remembers the days when Los Angeles smelled of orange blossoms. Mr. Lozzi, I don't remember those days.
I do.
You do? Okay. And he said today's scent is urine and feces, with once beautiful parks now filled with homeless encampments and carpeted with drug needles. Now, I remember, and this is a lot of years ago, working as a rep for an architectural company in Pasadena and having to go to Los Angeles, and I would always pay more to get a parking place as close to my destination as humanly possible, because even back then, there were no-go zones and corridors. And the current images of LA are enough to make me cry, remembering some of the really lovely areas in the city back then.
Now, Claire and I lived in Los Angeles
Yeah.
for a lot of years, but we would never move back there. Not now, not the way it is.
No,
And
no, no,
it's
no,
heartbreaking to see what's happened to the place.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take another phone call.
Oh, good.
From Joseph in Hawaii. Hello, Joseph. Welcome to the show. Aloha, bra. What's up?
Aloha, Mike. Aloha, Lady Claire. Nice to talk to you guys. Just wanted to bring up, I guess, a couple of thoughts, and I wanted to get your actual thoughts on this. One, the elections, I guess we'll be hearing from the Republicans next week, but, you know, I always seem to bring up when I call about the debt, my concern about how that in the deficit for this past year has increased so much, but the overall debt and why, this seems to never be an issue. Now I know it's a pandemic. No one wants to bring it up because it's a needed cost, I guess. But it's just when I think of how much things are skyrocketing and how much that's going to affect this country economically in the future, and I try to live debt-free personally as best I can. And when I see the irresponsibility happening in so many ways, it's very frustrating and how that affects so many, aspects of the economy, the value of the dollar, everything, And so that's the first thing I wanted to bring up, and then I'll hold for your thoughts. But I did have another thing I wanted to also, it's sort of related to that as well, to get your comments maybe on that first item.
Yeah, the debt is completely out of control. There's no question about that. And like I said the other day, there's this story coming out of TMI that the Democrats, the reason they're not really pushing much of an agenda or much of a platform is that if they do take control of the Senate and the White House this November, they're going to be focusing on deficit reduction, which is normally something you'd see the Republicans doing. But it is a real mess, and it is unpayable. And at some point, it's going to drag the whole system down to collapse.
When Trump cut those corporate taxes the way he did, and hopes of some kind of trickle down, it to me, during good times, quote unquote, it supposedly was good times. That's when you're supposed to be paying down your debts, and then of course, when crisis, I hear the music. Can you hold me over?
Yeah, I'm going to hold you over, but you're going to have to be short because we're on the last segment of our program today. We'll be right back.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cachingproperty.com. That's cachingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Last segment on this Pauhana Friday. We're talking with Joseph in Hawaii. And Joseph, just sort of pick up where you left off.
Oh yeah, we'll do. Thank you so much. Just the thought about how we were supposedly or hopefully wanting to pay down our debt during the good times over the recent years, and it just seems like it kept escalating. And I know that a lot of times the economic growth that we've had is sort of connected with the increased debt that we've been adding to it. You can spend on a credit card all you want, and you're going to be able to show apparently like you're living well. But it may not necessarily be the case. The other thing I wanted to also mention too, which is I find ironic, is that not related to that, but President Trump was saying that he didn't feel that we should be bailing out the states that have been irresponsible, more or less with their budgets and so forth. I get that. I mean, I agree. But then why would you be willing to bail out companies that were also irresponsible? You can think of Boeing and other ones. It just seems like, okay, if you're going to follow that principle, you should carry it all the way around, and that's not what I believe he's been doing. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on do you find that kind of ironic, perhaps not consistent in that sort of way he's going about that?
Yeah, there's a tendency for the Trump administration to be far more supportive of corporations than of the states. And I don't agree with bailing out states that have been irresponsible, but you're absolutely correct. Companies that are irresponsible, companies that are badly run should be allowed to collapse and go out of business and make way for somebody with more smarts. Now, I understand that Boeing is a very iconic company with a very, very long history. But as of late, they have not been producing good product. And maybe it's time, for somebody else to take over leadership of that industry. I mean, Airbus certainly is.
Yep. No, I totally agree. You should never be too big to fail. If that's the case, then we have antitrust laws for that. Because when you get to that point, then you literally can hold captive a country or whatever. So anyway, I appreciate it, Mike. I know it's the end of your time, and thank you very much, Lady Claire, for your always being there on Fridays. Nice to hear from you. Take care.
Well, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Dustin in New Jersey. Dustin, hello. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mike, I know I don't have too much time. I'm not going to talk about politics till Monday, but Mike, I hope your body's ready and Claire's body's ready and your PC's ready and your internet's. Did you get Flight Simulator yet? That's what I want to know. Like, did you get Flight
No, I haven't gotten Flight Simulator yet. I don't even have time to play with the old one I've got.
Because it's, Mike, it's like the most visually, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But you need your body ready.
I have a birthday coming up here.
Claire better be ready.
Yeah, I have a birthday coming up here, so maybe maybe there'll be something nice in my birthday stocking a week from now.
Mike, you guys have a good weekend, and I don't know if you have time, Mike, check out the video, the trailer for. I mean, you have your flight sticks, man. Get ready for it, Mike. It's incredible.
I love Flight Simulator.
Have a good show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. We're at the end of the program now. Should be hearing the music. There it is. There's the music there. Okay, stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Don't forget, Keith Rogers has got a guest for his show, 8 o'clock Sunday Mountain Time. Please spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Please donate. We need to replace equipment. We'll be back on Monday. Aloha, America.